COVID-19 is raising hopes that Trump will lose in many that had come to terms with their 2020 L. It shall make for saltier tears. Hey, what's up? This is part of the Shorties series where I just take these little short things I normally post on social media where it has a limited number of characters, so it gets me to condense an idea into something small, then I expand on it in these videos and places like this. As I record this on March 21st, 2020, there's an ongoing pandemic in the world, the COVID-19 coronavirus. We actually started hearing about news about this, at least I started hearing about news about this back in December of 2019. But now it's full-blown pandemic. At least the people who call things things and then everybody else kind of follows it. Different governments are dealing it with in different ways, different people. It's affecting everyone in the world. I think this is a major, major event. I think this is the first truly global event, and I'll talk about this, have already separate videos talking about this, and I'll be talking about it a lot more. But this is the Shorty series. I focus on certain things. I have interest in politics, especially United States of America politics, as you've seen with some of my channel if you're familiar with it, and just as I mentioned with this whole Shorties. I've been on record for at least 2 years saying that I think Donald J. Trump is going to win his second term in 2020. And I was ever more confident before this whole thing ramped up, just seeing who the Democrats had up. And I was also confident that a lot of other people in the world, even people who despise Trump, who hate Trump, actually were like, yeah, he's still going to win. Not just because of looking at who the Democrats are putting up there. They're just like running all kinds of people. I'm like, what are you doing? I even had different Shorties. You say, just let Bernie Sanders win. Then you can be like, okay, finally you can say, okay, look, this is what the socialism was. This is what the left is. If we go too far left, this is what's going to happen. We need to come back to the right. I mean, we need to come back to the center. We need to come back to what the Democrat Party was, and then they can recover that. And it seemed a lot of people were sharing that as well. But now that this COVID-19 thing has come up, I'm just looking at the coverage about the things people were saying about Trump. Oh, he's not doing enough. Now he's not doing, oh, he's doing too much. He's doing this and that. He's not supposed to talk about this way. He's being a dictator. He should use more power. Just, it's now a thing where people who I think were confident, who were like, okay, yeah, he's going to lose because we've tried more Russia. We've tried the Ukraine thing. We've tried he's incompetent. We've tried he's mentally not able to do this. We called him literally that person from Austria who was involved in World War II. We've said he's going to like have camps to like throw gay people in. Those camps haven't materialized. We've said all these things about him. We've thrown everything at him and he's still there. Like, how is he going to end? What are we going to end? How are we going to end Donald Trump? And then finally they're just like, okay, he's going to be there 4 more years. Let's just do this. And people had kind of just come to terms with what was coming. I think a lot of people were just like, okay, we get it. Joe Biden is just kind of, we're saying we don't want a rich white man to be running the country, and then we also have a rich white man that doesn't really control his words, that does flubs, that is kind of angry, challenging people to fight and things like this. So essentially we have some kind of doppelganger, like a bizarre world version of Donald Trump running for the Democrat Party. Like we already tried supposedly the most qualified person as Hillary Clinton. Oh, her husband was president, and then now it's like, okay, we're going to run this other qualified person. He was vice president, so his good friend Barack Obama was president. So, and they're just trying all these things, and it's like, okay, it's not working. And I really think a lot of people just like acquiesced, said, okay, we've tried everything we've had. We've tried all these things. We've had all these people. But then now this Corona Chan comes around, and they're like, wait, this is not something we even made up. This is a literal thing that's going on. This is a literal disease. It's not something we made up, like, we're not going through the Ukraine things and saying, look, did he mean this? Did he mean that? We're not like, oh, he's not letting the taxes. We're not using made up things. This is a literal scientific thing that's happening in the world. And then they're saying, look at how he's actually dealing with this. We're going to be able to say that this is actual final proof that this man should not be president. So there's a lot of people who are seeing this and thinking this is an actual thing. This is what we're talking about. We have been talking about to you, to everybody else, that when an actual threat comes by, when an actual crisis comes by, this man is not the appropriate man to be president. And now they truly believe that what's going on, his interactions with the media, people are saying, oh, we need to stop showing live media. This is just doing like, he's pretty much doing live campaigns. And in a way he kind of is, because everybody else pretty much has to stop campaigning. I mean, because you're not allowed to actually have groups of people. And now you have Trump on TV daily with these updates and things like this. They're talking about, oh, he's a dictator, and I saw somebody else give some good coverage of this. How is he a dictator if he's up there and people take questions and he's like saying, okay, you're asking me about this, let me refer you to this person who knows more about it. Oh, you asked me about my interactions. This person knows more about it. If he truly was a dictator, he'd just be sitting there by himself and just be taking all the answers and saying like, no, I know everything. But he's showing that, okay, I'm passing this on to other people. I'm letting private sector come in. I'm letting these other people come in. And one of the reasons I'm saying people are not getting this, but I completely understand why they don't get this, because they didn't get it before. They haven't gotten Trump before. I have a series, Trump Train to Magaland, where I'm reading the post-its from the Union Square metro station or subway station. You should check that out too, where I kind of go into different things, literally mean figuratively, trying to understand what people are actually meaning and seeing out there with this whole situation of Trump and elections, and trying to understand what people say and what people see. But one of the main things to think of here, why I'm saying this is a global event, this is a major thing, this is going to change things in a different way, is because a lot of people were talking about how America sucks, or America is bad this way, or Trump is horrible, Trump is this, Trump is that. But now you're going to be able to see this is the way this country behaves, this is the way this president behaves, this is the way this person deals with this, compared to the rest of the world. So even other people in the rest of the world who they thinking are going to understand and see, they're going to be able to say, look, this is what our president is doing compared to what the presidents in other countries are doing. This is how our country reacts to this compared to how other countries are dealing with this situation. This is how our people are reacting to this compared to how other people are dealing with this situation. So this is going to be a good thing for people to in the world compare and see what are better ways of doing things. How is a country actually better? Are all countries made equal? They're not. Are all presidents made equal? They're not. These are individuals, these are people, these are groups of people working with different ideas and ideologies. So we're going to be able to test and see what is good, what is bad. And when it comes down to it, at the end, there is going to be an actual accounting of this. People are going to say, look, this is what happened. This is how many people died. This is what we were being told to worry about. Did the worries actually come out? Well, anyway, a lot of things will change. I still think Donald Trump is going to win the 2020 presidential election. And this whole thing is just thinking about the people who think his behavior or his actions currently, right now, in this pandemic are things that are going to show people that this is not somebody to vote for. When on the contrary, he has a rather high approval rate on this thing. And most sane people, because we're talking about some of these people who are saying, yes, finally he's going to go down. That's coming from people who are on some level of fundamentalist, extremist political involvement. The average person is still too worried and panicked and focused on other things that are happening all around the world, and they're not as myopic and self-centered to think this is about them and their vendetta against Trump. They're seeing this is something that was out of Trump's control. This is a person just trying to react and act to these things, unless some of those conspiracies come by and then all these things are found out. But people don't really care that much that he's calling it the China virus, because people all around the world, a lot of other people around the world are still calling it the China virus because they get that it came from China. People don't really care that he's talking the way he is to the media, because people are like, look, and this is one thing I don't think some people in the United States of America, especially in the media, get. They travel around the world, but the sort of travel that they do, they go around and they have these, I think, tailored kind of environments. Some people will travel around, go to a hotel in Dubai, a hotel in Nairobi, a hotel in Belgrade, and these hotel type of environments are kind of the same. They're tailored towards the customer. It's not really living with the people that actually live there, seeing the mentality of the people that are actually there. If you go there as a reporter, the people who interact with you, if you're there officially as a reporter, are going to be giving you a tailored idea of how life is in that sense. People have different interests, but people around the world live in other places around the world. There's reporters in other countries who know that if I said half the things you say about your president, I wouldn't have a job or I would be offed. There's some countries where the president would just disappear them. And then you have the media in the West acting like Donald Trump's words are just the most terrible human rights violation in existence. And the rest of the world is just looking at you like, are you serious? This guy's talking about all this money being sent to the people, and you're over here like, wow, you're arguing with the press, you're saying this with the media. And then other people are watching and saying, hey, we don't have a percentage, we don't have a fraction of the resources and quality of life that you guys have. And now people are dying, you're still whinging about this? This is what you think is the actual deal here? People don't get this. But then for some of you out there, you also have to remember that Donald J. Trump is not their president. He is their father. He is their parent. That's the relationship some of these people have with him. They're feeling like, oh, it's my dad embarrassing me by saying these things in public. Why don't you just act proper? And this might be through some background where they just understand things are going to be relatively okay for them. There's going to be some background things that help them out anyway. So they just want to just go out and give this basic question and then have this basic, contrived, artificial response back to them. And I'm like, hey, no, this is a human being. Let him respond. Let him just talk. And then just report what the person said. I don't want you being involved. Don't report on your actual life. It's not about you. It's not about you. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Like, share, and subscribe. Recorded a few of these shorties. I'm going to be posting them. I know a lot of people are spending time at home. Let me know what you think about this situation. I don't think it's going to change much of anything. People aren't supporting Trump in December of 2019 and then seeing what he's saying and behaving like now, and they're going to be like, okay, I'm not going to vote for him. There's not going to be people who have seen anything that Joe Biden has done during this time, and I think will do until the election, if that's even up, who's going to think, yes, Joe Biden saying things in the background, there's things that he said where, oh, Trump should do this, should activate this thing, and then it turns out that, hey, Trump has actually done that a few hours before that happens. There's nothing Joe Biden's going to do, I think, to sway people over to his side. There's not going to be people who hated Trump, who I think are all of a sudden going to be like, okay, he actually did something. They were saying he's going to like fall and crumble when there's an actual crisis, and then he's actually kind of put things together. I don't really see that many people who disliked him who are on there. Now, if you were in the middle, if you weren't decided, again, I don't think there's anything positive or negative either way. If anything, the fact that people had set up that Trump would be such an abject failure that he just has to do average things, and it's an unprecedented situation, that if you can't directly show that Trump has directly done things to result in people's direct deaths, that's not going to be enough points for anyone to actually sway this election. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for coming and listening to this. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Links below to the merchandise store. If you want to help me out also and support this channel and making more of these videos, there's a one-time donations you can do to the PayPal link there. And that's it for now. Goodbye.